If you're not from Texas, Saltgrass Steakhouse might not have come across your radar before. But it's time to change that. We've done all the digging on Saltgrass, from its award-winning beef to all the beefed-up drama that put this restaurant in the headlines. Saltgrass Steakhouse got its name and its inspiration from an old Texas legend that dates back to the 1800s. Hundreds of years ago, longhorn cattle roamed all over the state, creating a source of wealth and prosperity for many ranchers during the pioneer days. As Saltgrass's website tells it, the longhorn were driven to the Texas Gulf Coast to graze on the rich coastal saltgrass, and when they headed for market, they followed the legendary Saltgrass Trail, known far and wide for creating the best beef in the Lone Star State. Generations later, the Texas landscape changed, and the Saltgrass Trail was mostly forgotten, but not entirely. In 1952, this legendary trail ride was reenacted to mark the opening of the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. The tradition has lived on ever since, and the annual trail ride still takes place every year to kick off the Houston Rodeo. A few decades after the annual trail rides kicked off, another symbol of Texas cattle-rich history and loyalty to tradition was born when the first Saltgrass Steakhouse opened up right along the original path of the famous trail. Saltgrass Steakhouse is now celebrating 30 years of great steak dinners served Texas style. The first location opened its doors in Houston back in 1991, and it still stands near the historic Saltgrass Trail. Many new locations have opened since then, but the inspiration has remained the same. From the beginning, the restaurant has strived to embody Texas tradition in look and feel from the moment that guests walk in the door. You'll find decorative accents like warm wood furnishings, leather seating, and memorabilia from the Saltgrass Trail inside each location. Add to that a menu packed with all the beef you could ever want, plus a host of other Texas favorites, and clearly Saltgrass has landed upon a recipe for success. That surely helps explain why it's continued to see growth in both reach and revenue in recent years. Saltgrass Steakhouse started out as a local chain, but in true Texas style, the tradition couldn't be contained to just the Lone Star State. As COO Terry Turney told Forbes in 2019, "We started in Houston and then moved to Dallas and then opened in Beaumont, Texas, and then nearby in Lake Charles. From there, the chain has expanded to nearly 100 locations in more than 10 states across the South and Southwest, from Nevada to Nebraska to North Carolina and nearly every state in between. New Saltgrass locations have opened their doors as recently as 2020. And according to its executives, Saltgrass Steakhouse has plans to keep growing. After 3 decades in business, it's become a favorite among older adults, as well as older millennials who grew up going to the restaurant with their families. Furthermore, in an effort to keep up with people's changing dining habits, nearly every single Saltgrass location offers delivery options, from Uber Eats, Postmates, and more. No surprise here, the menu at Saltgrass Steakhouse is all about the beef above all else. Saltgrass promises steaks that are mouth-watering, and that starts with the quality of the meat itself. The company uses certified Angus beef steaks, which must pass a rigorous set of standards that measures marbling, size, appearance, and tenderness to earn the brand designation. Diners can choose from nearly 10 different cuts in various sizes, including ribeyes, sirloin, New York strip, porterhouse, and more. Each one is seasoned with signature Saltgrass 7 steak spice, char-grilled to order, and topped with fresh garlic butter while it's still hot. It becomes a true Texas meal with the addition of a salad and a hearty side choice that's included with every steak entree. But Saltgrass knows that not every night out is a steak dinner occasion, so they've also got a selection of other Texas favorites on the menu that are bound to satisfy almost any appetite.
We're all about great steaks, but there is a lot more to our story.
Customers can start with creative crowd pleasers like fried mushrooms or pickles, queso fresco, or range rattlers, which are basically cheesy stuffed jalapenos. There's also a range of soups and salads that are made fresh in-house every day. For the entree course, you can dig into comfort food classics like chicken fried chicken, barbecue baby back ribs, a double-bone pork chop, or a tried-and-true cheeseburger. Saltgrass also offers a selection of seafood, including simple favorites like shrimp and grilled Atlantic salmon. If you manage to save room for dessert, expect classic treats like cheesecake, carrot cake, or seasonal and regional specialties. We won't judge if you have to loosen your belt up a little bit. Dessert often gets the short end of the stick when eating out. The better the meal, the better the chance of filling up before you even have a chance to look at the sweets on the menu. And it's not like that's even a bad thing, because a lot of the time you're only missing out on store-bought, frozen, and reheated desserts that restaurants try to pass off as fresh. but that's not the case at Saltgrass Steakhouse. In fact, you'll definitely want to save room for their made-from-scratch desserts, all of which are made in the kitchen every day. The offerings vary from location to location, with some whipping up cheesecake, pecan pie bread pudding, and carrot cake. Or there are also hot and fresh skillet desserts like a fudge brownie sundae drizzled with warm caramel or a cinnamon sugar bread pudding coated in tres leches sauce. You really can't go wrong unless you skip out on these sweet treats entirely, as all of the desserts have rave reviews from fans online, and you'll soon want to add your cheers to the chorus.
And the crowd goes wild. Yay!
There's nothing better at a restaurant than getting a complimentary snack to whet your appetite as you wait for your main course. At Saltgrass Steakhouse, you'll get to bide your time while your steak is on the grill with their signature Texas Bach beer bread. The soft, fluffy rolls are freshly baked in-house every morning, and they are absolutely delicious when eaten warm and slathered with sweet and savory honey butter. These rolls are so beloved that there are even quite a few copycat recipes out there, so you can definitely try and recreate Saltgrass's beer bread recipe at home if you want to. But our advice is to just head out for steak night and indulge in the real thing. According to Yelp users, you can get all the beer bread and honey butter your heart desires. All you have to do is ask.
I love bread.
A meal at Saltgrass Steakhouse will no doubt leave you feeling satisfied, satiated, and maybe even a little stuffed. But it will also probably leave you with a calorie overload. The chain certainly doesn't hold back on the flavor, and that means that sugar, fat, salt, and dairy make frequent appearances across the menu. And we're not just talking about the steaks, which get slathered with butter upon serving. Saltgrass provides calorie counts for all the items on its menu, but it doesn't make other nutrition facts readily available. For the rest, the nutrition tracking app MyFitnessPal has estimates for most of the items. To give you an example of what you're in for, a basic 12-ounce ribeye is estimated to have 885 calories and 71 grams of fat. Mashed potatoes account for another 320 calories and 19 grams of fat. And if you opt for a Caesar salad as well, that's 270 more calories and 21 grams of fat. And don't forget the signature bread, with each roll clocking in at 219 calories and 12 grams of fat. Combine all that together for one meal, and that's nearly a whole day's worth of calories, as recommended by health experts at the FDA, and that's not even counting dessert. Some people might find it difficult to place Saltgrass Steakhouse into the appropriate restaurant category. It's not quite as fancy as certain white tablecloth steakhouse chains like Ruth's Chris, but it's a little more upscale than your local Chili's or Outback Steakhouse. Instead, it falls somewhere in the middle between those options. And as it turns out, that's a specific business strategy that executives at Saltgrass say plays a huge role in keeping the brand popular among the competition. As COO Terry Tunney explained to Forbes in 2019, "Because we're placed in the middle, we attract from both sides." Clearly, it's a strategy that works, and Saltgrass has the numbers to prove it, which show the restaurant growing aggressively relative to other steakhouse chains. Restaurant group Landry's, which owns Saltgrass Steakhouse, calls it one of their fastest growing brands. If there are butts in seats, you can't argue with that. Saltgrass Steakhouse boasts fresh, high-quality ingredients and promises a satisfying dining experience that evokes the flavor of the open campfire and lives up to its legendary roots. That seems like a high bar to clear, but it certainly appears that Saltgrass is stepping up to the culinary challenge. On its website, the restaurant lists the nearly 100 different awards that it's racked up over the years. Those honors are a big deal when you consider all the steakhouse competitors they're up against. Most recently, Saltgrass received a 2020 Traveler's Choice Award from TripAdvisor, and the year before, it was named one of the local favorites of Southwest Louisiana, and that's just a drop in the bucket. Saltgrass has also swept up the title of Best Steak and Best Steakhouse in dozens of cities across Texas, as well as in several other states. You definitely don't get that sort of recognition while serving up mediocre beef. A few years ago, Saltgrass Steakhouse found itself in the spotlight for an unfortunate reason, in which things took a strange twist. In mid-2018, it was reported that a customer at Saltgrass had written a racist note to a server on a receipt. The restaurant then issued a statement in support of the server and banned the customer from the establishment. However, a few days later, Saltgrass executives discovered that the employee involved had actually faked the note and the entire story. The details behind why the server, who was ultimately let go, fabricated the incident aren't totally clear. Some sources suggest that the server was attempting to draw attention to a serious issue, but clearly went about it the wrong way. Saltgrass says it reached out to the customer who was banned and invited them back to dine at the restaurant for free.
Just like the boy who cried wolf. Like,
You know, when stuff like this actually happens out here, it's hard for people to take it seriously.
The COVID-19 pandemic has brought hardship for everyone in different forms, and restaurants in particular have faced a unique set of struggles. In September 2020, Saltgrass Steakhouse happened to find itself on the wrong end of a pandemic-related incident that took place at a location in Little Rock, Arkansas. After a fight broke out over pandemic safety measures, a couple reportedly decided to sue the restaurant.
Saltgrass says there's a lot more to this story.
Reportedly, the couple who filed the lawsuit had asked patrons near them in the restaurant to adhere to social distancing measures and stand farther away. What happened next is unclear. Some reports say that the patrons then blatantly coughed on the couple. Other reports claim that the opposite happened. Either way, a fight escalated with nearly 10 people getting involved and a glass bottle being thrown. The lawsuit alleged that restaurant management didn't do anything to stop the violence and that the Saltgrass location was not following proper government-mandated pandemic protocols at the time. These protocols included limiting restaurant capacity and enforcing social distancing and facial coverings. The restaurant stood its ground in response and said that while it does not condone disrespectful acts of any kind, Saltgrass will not compensate these individuals for a fight that began and ended with their violent acts. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more mashed videos about your favorite restaurant chains are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.